Do you suffer from sexual frustration? Do you look at questionable content on your screen? Do you have porn addiction? In today's Tafsir, we explain why this happens and give you the heavenly solution God prescribed so you can bring peace to your life. Session 599, Chapter 4, Verse 34, a continuation. Men are the caretakers of women. Because of the advantage God has granted some over others, and by virtue of their spending out of their wealth. Righteous wives are devout, safeguarding their husbands' interests in their absence, as God has guarded them. As for those wives whose misconduct you fear, admonish them, keep away from them in bed, and beat them. Then, if they obey you, do not seek any course of action against them. Indeed, God is the Most High, the Great. Chapter 4, Verse 34. Every human action passes through 3 stages. The first is perception, the second is feeling, and the third is action. Take the example of a beautiful flower. You are walking down the street and pass by a neighbor's garden. The smell of a rose catches your attention. That is perception. If you admire and cherish the rose, that is a feeling. Then you move to pick the rose so you can take it home and enjoy the smell in your living room. That is the third step, action. We ask, when does God's law, Sharia, intervene? It always intervenes at the third stage of action. To continue with our example, you are free to smell the rose, look at it, and take a picture. You can admire the rose, dream about it, and tell the family. However, the moment you move to pick the rose from your neighbor's garden, God says, stop. The rose is not yours. If you want it, either ask your neighbor for permission, buy one, or plant your own. If you study Sharia, you will find one exception to this rule: the opposite sex. In this particular case, Allah intervenes at the first stage of perception. Our Creator knows that if we perceive beauty, in other words, look at the opposite sex, feelings and desire arise. And when such desire exists, the push towards action is powerful. As a man, you are chemically and hormonally composed such that if you perceive beauty, you will desire it, and such desire will create physical changes that demand release. Allah wants to spare you this vicious cycle. Thus, in matters of sexuality, God's teachings intervene at the very beginning of the matter. God says, "Tell believing men to lower their glances and guard their private parts. That is purer for them." God is well aware of everything they do. And tell believing women that they should lower their eyes and guard their private parts and not display their adornments, except for what normally shows, and draw their head coverings across their breasts. From chapter 24, verses 30 to 31. Why? Because if you perceive, you will feel, and if you feel, your sexual drive will push you to act. Action, in this case, will wreck people's honor and ruin society. If you suppress your feelings and do not act, you will likely suffer psychological problems. Both outcomes are no good. Thus, Allah gave you the perfect solution. Do not look at the beauty and sexuality of the opposite sex, on the street or on your screen. Think about the rose example. God prevented you from taking your neighbor's rose, so you moved on. Did it cause disturbance in your psyche, or raise your hormones? No. Most likely, you would forget about that rose in 5 minutes. The same goes for a sports car or a lovely home. But when a man sees a beautiful woman and she enters his feelings, he might be thinking about her days later, because chemical and hormonal bodily changes took effect. God says, "Righteous wives are devout, safeguarding their husbands' interests in their absence as God has guarded them. Allah, the Creator, established laws and methods to protect society. The law: no premarital sexual relations. The method: I do not expose myself to images, nor put myself in situations that lead to aroused feelings that demand action. Why? Because if I act, I cause corruption, and if I do not, I become troubled. This is the meaning behind "as God has guarded them." It means we follow the method of our Creator to guard society. We do not follow the West or invent our own. Our beloved Muhammad also gave a solution. He, peace be upon him, said to the Muslim youth, "Whoever amongst you is capable of providing for a family, then let him or her marry, for indeed it lowers the gaze and protects the private parts. And whoever cannot marry, he or she should fast, for it will diminish desire." When you reduce the consumption of food, you decrease the energy available to fuel materialistic desires and greed. This, in turn, helps you overcome the drive to sin. Now, we come to the most controversial and misunderstood part of this ayah. As for those wives whose misconduct you fear, admonish them, keep away from them in bed, and beat them. Join us next week as we take a deep dive. Click the subscribe button and the bell icon so you do not miss it.
الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض وبما أنفقوا من أموالهم فالصالحات قانتات حافظات للغيب بما حفظ الله واللاتي تخافون نشوزهن فعظوهن واهجروهن في المضاجع واضربوهن فإن أطعنكم فلا تبغوا عليهن سبيلا إن الله كان عليا كبيرا.
The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Convey my teachings to the people, even if it is only a single verse." Please take a moment to subscribe and to share with your family and friends. Visit us at www.qurangarden.com.